Okay, so we talked about how the fact that polar coordinates are just a different mathematical way of looking at plotting points on a graph. So instead of using the Cartesian or rectangular XY coordinates, we're looking at polar coordinates where we have r being the distance from the pole to where our point is, and then theta being the angle from the polar axis to that directed angle. So we're going to look at to convert. So let's go from polar. We're going to go polar r theta. We're going to convert that to a rectangular or Cartesian xy. A couple things to remember. Let's go back to our basic trig where we know that if we wanted to find this angle theta, okay, that the cosine of theta equals the adjacent x over the hypotenuse xr. So we could rewrite that to say that x equals r times cosine theta. Likewise, we could say, okay, well, if we wanted the sine of theta, that would equal y over r, opposite over hypotenuse, which means that y equals r times cosine theta. So if we agree on that, then what we can do is we can come over here and in order to convert a polar, the polar coordinates, we're going to take that r and theta that we have, and we're going to go r times the cosine of theta, because that's what x equals, and then r times the sine of theta, because, again, that's what y equals. And if we do that, then those values that we get give us our x and our y. Coming down here just really quickly, this would be r cosine theta, and then r sine theta. Now, we can also look at converting from an xy coordinate on the Cartesian plane to a polar coordinate where we have r and theta. So two things we need r and we need theta. So let's think about r again. This is r. Well, r is this distance here. And if this point is x and y, and this is our pole or origin, then the r is going to equal the square root of x squared plus y squared. And then the theta, our angle here, knowing that we have x and y, then tangent theta equals y over x. Therefore, theta equals arctan of y over x. So let's put those together then, and we'll say that that x over y, what we're going to do is we're going to convert that, and the x value, because it's, or not the x value, the r is going to be x squared plus y squared. Okay, and then the theta here is arctangent y over x. And those are the values you have. You're going to have, right, you're going to start out with an x and y. So you plug the x and y into this equation, and you plug the x and y into that equation. And when you do that, you wind up with some distance, r, and some angle, directed angle, theta. So if I come down here, I would say theta equals arctan of y over x. I would say r equals x squared plus y squared. Okay, which is what we just saw there. So we're going to practice some problems and see how that goes. We'll look quickly at 3 problems. We'll start right here. So we're going to go from polar coordinate to an x and y. So we have 2 and we have theta. And we know this is going to be r cosine theta, r sine theta. So let's go 2 cosine pi, 2 times sine of pi. So we have to remember a unit circle, and the cosine of pi is -1, and the sine of pi is 0. So our -2, 0. Okay. Let's look at the second one here. This is √3 and pi over 6. So our, our r theta is √3 over pi over 6. Okay, so we're going to go √3 cosine of pi over 6. And we're going to go √3 sine of pi over 6. So of course we have to remember our unit circle. So pi over 6 equals √3 over 2 and 1/2. So we have √3 times √3 over 2, because that's what cosine pi over 6 is, and then √3 and 1/2. Okay. If we take √3 times √3, that's √3 squared, which means we basically just have 3 over 2. And then I'm going to have square root of 3 over 2 when I multiply these two together. Okay, there's my answer. Okay, let's quickly look. I think this is the last thing we're going to do here is we're going to look at converting from Cartesian to polar. So I'm going to go from xy to r theta. Okay, so my x is 12, my y is 5, and we said to do this, then to get r, we have to do the distance formula, so it's going to be 12 squared plus 5 squared. And yes, some of you right now are saying, I know it's 13 because it's a special right triangle, but I'm going to just go ahead and do 144 plus 25 equals square root of 169 equals 13. Okay, so this is going to be 13. And then to get my angle, I've got to do, I'm going to do down here, tangent theta equals y over x, so 5 over 12. So theta equals arctangent of 5 over 12. And do I have a calculator here? I do. 5 divided by 12, arctan, 22.6. So theta equals 22.6 degrees. And so 22.6 degrees. All right, and that was it. At that point, we stopped, so we'll pick up from here.